I think that Yuta stands a chance, right? Because if Yuji can get reverse curse technique in a month, I don't see why Yuta wouldn't be able to improve his to the level of Gojo and Sukuna, right? And also, one of the things I wrote down, which was the fact that Hakari's reverse curse technique is better than both Sukuna and Gojo's, right? If he were to take Hakari's ability, open up a domain, or rather just like, because the domain is one thing that Hakari has, but if he copies it just to learn from using the ability so that his body can get used to being flooded with infinite curse energy to the point that RCT is instinctual, I think that's something that Yuta could learn. I mean, outside of that, there's also Sukuna's own hand that got cut off, so Yuta could copy even Sukuna's technique. It's just Sukuna v Sukuna. Gojo's body's still there as well. It could be Gojo combined with Sukuna versus Sukuna. Also, someone mentioned that it could have been possible for Sukuna not to have the 10 shadows anymore completely. Not just the fact that Maharaga's gone, but also the fact that it could have been possible, again, with binding vows, which I want to say we don't get, but like the extent to what they can do isn't clear per se. But there's the possibility of Sukuna having used a binding vow to be able to unleash the first world cutting slash that got Gojo cut in half. Because he didn't, well, not that he didn't, but he would need signs and chance to be able to pull it off, right? Like every other time he did. Unless he used, like getting rid of the 10 shadows as a binding vow. So I can't use it anymore or it's gone, whatever, but I can hit this without needing to do anything else, right? Okay. There's also the fact that I think a few people have noticed that Sukuna has been healing a lot slower as well, right? Like his hand got cut off. He cut off his own hand. But even in all the panels while he's like thinking really deeply, you can see the smoke coming from his hand, right? And it wasn't until, because they even put emphasis right before Yuta pulls up with his sword that Sukuna's hand is finally back. But it took all that time just to regrow one hand, which kind of now points to the narrative that Sukuna's full reincarnation was only physical, right? It only got his body back, because that's the thing, because he already had his curse energy back, right? He already had his curse energy back because he clearly had more than Yuta, right? So unless you think he somehow had all his curse energy from when he was Sukuna and then got to Heian form and then got it back again a second time, like where would it come from, right? The reincarnation is really just for his body. So if he were to try to, say, use domain expansion, I don't think he could. So Yuta might be able to catch him in that. I mean, also, you have to consider the fact that right now the strongest would be Yuta, right? Like, if he's not doing anything to Sukuna, no one is, and the manga ends there, right? Even if you say, oh, but he's toying, maybe, or maybe you can say, oh, but then if he tries toying with them and then somehow they manage to get the upper hand, maybe. Do I think that's how it's going to go? Probably not. Sukuna did say to struggle and all that to Yuta, but, and there's that foreshadowing about, you know, being the main dish now, where they say he might, or people are speculating that Sukuna's going to finally, like, completely eat somebody, and he's going to eat Yuta, or at the very least Rika, right? Because Rika's like the queen of curses. Like, imagine the queen and the king combined. That would make sense. But also, it also brings up the point of what Sukuna's curse technique actually is, right? Because who knows? Maybe Malevolent Kitchen wasn't actually a mistranslation, but actually revealing what his real technique is, right? Because I know a lot of people already realized that the whole slashing, cutting, or dismantle and everything, and especially the design for the knives that were shown when they were explaining how they work, on top of the fact that the shrine was called Kitchen, and the fact that he uses a lot of metaphors when he was telling Gojo that he's going to chop him up, get his scales off, whatever, it's just a fish on a board. And then the fact that he's actually ate someone, right? He ate Hana Caruso's arm, with Angel's arm. Oh, and also the fire arrow, the Fuga, right, it's like cooking the meal. So basically, yeah, he might eat either Yuta or Rika. And in that case, Sukuna won't have troubles considering the fact that the one holding all of the curse tools, the extra curse energy and all that is Rika. And apparently on an interview, Gege already said that Rika's weaker than Heian era Sukuna, which makes sense. Because yeah, she's strong, but the only person she's ever really fought were Yuji, who, I mean, physically speaking, yeah, he's strong, but he's not on the level of Yuta. And she fought Ishigori, right? But even he wasn't that strong either. And even then, a solid hit from Ishigori was enough, like I said, even for a fully manifested Rika to take, and then her time was up. And already we saw her try to hit Sukuna, and Sukuna just blocks it, right? The power is really going to come from the duo, right? Where Yuta fighting side by side with Rika and Yuji and whoever else pulls up will definitely be necessary. So unless they mention next chapter that Sukuna's curse energy is actually lower, or rather not lower, but the same as it was at the end of the fight with Gojo, that would also point to the fact that the Heian Force is really just a regen, I guess. Yeah, because a regen and a buff, physically speaking, but not techniques and curse energy speaking. Because that's the thing. We assume that Sukuna has a lot more techniques than the ones he's already shown, right? That he can only do them when he has his full body back. We know that with the full body, he can make them enchanted, like reinforced. But as for how many more techniques he actually has, because there's the assumption that the fire arrow was just a copy of Jogo's. But again, going with the kitchen theme or the cooking theme, I don't actually think it was a copy as much as it was just part of his curse technique. And I mean, how many more things could he have? If he starts getting 4, 5, 6 things, like it's gonna be too much. Right now, it's only the slash and the dismantle, the cleave and the slash or whatever, and the fire arrow. And again, I think I mentioned it, but how much stronger are we assuming that this Heian arrow form is to like Meguna, right? It's stronger, definitely. It has to be, considering the fact how he looks and the fact he has 4 arms and all that. But the only person he's fought for more than a chapter right now, well, I guess besides Higuruma, but Higuruma was never really a powerhouse as much as it was talent combined with a very good curse technique, was Kashimo, right? Outside of, Gojo. But, actually Heian form didn't fight Gojo, but against Kashimo, he was able to force Sukuna to restart his healing, which he could only do once. But that also doesn't scale Kashimo as Meguna, right? Because this is the Megumi's body after it got hit with a second Hollow Purple, fighting like a Black Flash, and having fought Gojo this whole time, reverse curse technique, and even his curse energy, as we see, like I mentioned, the hand is lower than it's supposed to be. Or rather, his curse energy, it hasn't been replenished. But we'll see. But I don't know. This all depends on how strong Heian arrow form actually is. And I don't know that. Everyone he's beaten are leagues below the likes of Gojo and Sukuna. So closest we're going to get is probably Yuta in this next chapter. And we'll just have to see. Either way, I just want to read the next chapter, honestly. And in conclusion, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time for that chapter review. I hear Gege's been cooking up something magnificent. If you liked it, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. And comment your opinion. What do you think is going to happen? This video is very long, the recording. But honestly, it's going to be so short. Because I kept messing up. Thanks for watching.